Hi, welcome back. I'm certainly glad you could join me today. I thought today we'd just do a fantastic little seascape, and I'll show you how easy you can do one of those. Let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with me. And while they're doing that, let me show you what I've got done. I have my regular old canvas up here, except today I've covered the bottom part of it here and up the side with black gesso, and I've allowed that to dry completely. And after it's dry, be sure it's dry. It takes about 30-40 minutes for it to dry. And it's totally different now than liquid black. This is black gesso, which is an acrylic. Then we've taken transparent color. I've put a little alizarin crimson and dark sienna mixture in here, and a little sap green and brown down in here. And down here is just a little brown. The white part we've covered, as usual, with liquid white. So it's completely wet and ready to go. So let's just have some fun today. I'm going to start out with the old 2-inch brush, and we'll go into at least a little touch of the Indian yellow. Just a small amount. And we'll go right up here, and let's just dance in a happy little sky today. Let's do a seascape that's very bright and shiny and pretty, and there we go, little cad yellow. I'm going to just vary the yellows here. Started with Indian yellow, now we're into cad yellow. Shoot, and I'm going to go into a little bit of yellow ochre. And yellow ochre is sort of a gold color. It's very pretty. Very pretty color, I like that. There. And we just let it just come right on around, maybe something like that. Wherever, just make some decisions. Then we'll take a little of the bright red. And we have not cleaned the brush yet. I like these kind of paintings where I don't have to clean the brush much. I'm sort of a lazy painter. There. But by allowing these colors to blend on the brush and on the canvas, you get a multitude of different values and colors rather than just one old flat color. Shoot. Put some excitement in your world. There we go. I'll tell you what, let's just paint it all the way down here to the waterline. This is just a little piece of masking tape I have across here, just to keep the waterline straight. There. Sometimes my hand's a little shaky, so I need all the help I can get. So we just use a little piece of masking tape, and you don't have to have it there if you don't want it. Just makes it a little easier. I'm going to gently blend all these together. Maybe I'll put a little of that color on the brush up here too, just to fill in the sky. But just blend it all together so you can't tell where one color stops and the next color starts. There we go. And you can make this brighter or duller or whatever. Okay. Now then, let me grab another brush. I have several brushes going, so I don't have to spend all my time washing them. I'm going to go right into a little titanium white, pure titanium white. And right up here, I'm going to put a little of this white. I want to make a bright spot in this sky. And it won't look all that bright at this point, but it will when we get a little further along. There. Just really give a nice sparkle up here. Okay. Now maybe, I didn't realize how much I said that till a little boy one day, about 10 years old, began mocking me. He was walking around saying, maybe. All right, I'm gonna make up a little lavender color here using alizarin crimson and phthalo blue. Much more crimson than blue. Something like so. Let me clean off the old knife. And well, here's a dirty brush. We'll just use that. It has a little of that sky color on it. I'm just gonna tap the bristles into that. Just tap a little bit, like so. And let's go up in here, and let's make some nice little clouds that just float around and have fun all day. Just sort of wind them up and put them in there, see? There. Okay. Wherever you think they should be. We'll just have them come right over here. This is going to be a big cliff, I think. A big rocky thing lives right there. Just drop it in. All right, there we go. And by using these little twisting or circular patterns here, it creates a multitude of little things happening up here. It's not just a flat old dead sky. A lot of nice things going on. There. Okay, maybe we'll come right over in here. And I'm just going to put clouds all over the sky like this. Okay, there we are. Maybe it comes right down. Just load a little more color. There. Maybe there's a little protrusion right out here, wherever you want them. There. I tell you what, while I'm doing this, because this is going to take just a second, I want to show you one of my little characters that's living with me now. I have 3 little baby squirrels that I'm raising, and they're the cutest little devils, and we took a little video of them, and I want to share that with you while I'm doing this. And I won't do anything I don't tell you about what that's coming on there. Now these are tiny little baby ones. They're just beginning to get a little fur. And I've had them now since just after their eyes opened. And these little rascals are hungry continually. So I thought I'd show you how we feed them. And to do that, I just use a little syringe with a little nipple on the end of it. And it's just like going to the doctor and getting your shot when it's feeding time here. We fill her up. And normally though, when you see a syringe coming at you, it sort of scares you a little bit. But in this case, when my little friends here see a syringe coming at them, they get excited. This just makes their whole day. And it's hard to get them to eat, as you can see. And I think he'll eat about every 15 minutes if you'd feed him. As I say, I have 3 of those little rascals now, and they live with me. And my mother and I and Nancy, we all take care of these little devils, and they're gonna soon be big enough to turn loose and let them go. There. I'm just putting in a few little clouds down here while you're watching the little squirrels. Still just using the corner of the brush and just making little circular patterns, just around and around and around we go. Just sort of stirred up. Just stirred up. That's all we're trying to do at this point. But we don't want a lot of paint on the canvas. All we're looking for is a little stain. There. And sometimes you can just decide where it should be a little darker, a little lighter, or shoot, maybe there's even a little projection that comes right out through there. See? That easy, just by tapping. You can make all those little things. Okay? I'm grabbing another clean brush. This is clean, has nothing on it. It's very dry. And with that, you can just begin blending this now to any degree of softness or harshness that you want. Just blend it. Aren't those little squirrels cute? I really like those little devils. And they're so much fun. And you spend a little time with one of these, and it certainly makes you appreciate nature and all of God's wisdom when He created these little characters, because you get addicted to them. Especially my young friends. I have a lot of children that live around where I live, and I let them come over and help me feed the little squirrels and look at them and hold them. I think everybody should have the opportunity to make friends with a little guy like that. If you do, you'll certainly have a greater appreciation of nature and all the little things that are running around that we don't pay a lot of attention to. There we go. Now let me just knocking off the excess paint, and then very gently, we can just blend that. But isn't that a fantastic way of making a sky that's, ooh, son, I'm gonna jump out and get you. And you can do that. All right, time to wash your brush. And as you know, we wash our brushes just with odorless thinner and just beat the devil out of them. Maybe I'll wash 2. I dirtied up several while we were doing that. That's double your pleasure. Okay, now the little piece of masking tape right here. Let's take it off. See, now that leaves you with a very, very straight and smooth horizon. But there was no color into this. So I'll take a little bit of the crimson and little dark sienna. I'm just gonna, probably this won't even show up, but I'm just scrubbing a little transparent color on there, just bringing that all together. This is just the crimson and little dark sienna. There, right up to the waterline. Okay, and just sort of blend it together. All right. Now then, we have to make some big major decisions here. You know me, I like to have these big crashing waves. I don't like just doing these little subdued waves, but if you like those, you can do those the same way as we do the little waves in the back, very simply. maybe in our world, our wave's going to live right here. See, but you can take a fan brush or filbert brush and just make sort of a little outline of, there. That's going to be our wave, right there. Now then, with a little touch of the titanium white, and I'm using the number 3 fan brush. I'm going to go right up here to the horizon and just begin, and see, come up close right here. I'm just making strokes where I'm going like this. I'm really exaggerating, but like that. And I'm exaggerating. So, but it looks like little watery things back here. There. Okay, now that's one of the nicest, easiest, simplest little ways that I've ever found, just to make the indication of water back in there. I'm going to add the least little touch of cad yellow to my color right in here. Ooh, that's nice. That's beginning to sparkle a little bit more. See, it looks like light just shining right across there. There we go. This is just some background material. Now then, let me wash the old brush. Now the fun part, right in here, that's the eye of the wave. That's the eye of the wave. We'll just take some titanium white and just, as my son Steve says, just moosh it in there. Really push it in there hard. Okay, and you can do this several times, and if it gets like there's a lot of color underneath, remove that excess paint, and that remains there. That color remains there. And we can take a little more of our white, we'll add a little of the cad yellow to that, and go right back in here. See there? And each time you do that, it'll get lighter in value. Or you can take a rag or something and just wipe that out, whichever way you'd like to do it. And maybe it comes right on back, like so. Just scrub it in. Now then, clean, dry 2-inch brush. And I'm only going to use the top corner. And you put it there, and you just sort of wind it up. Just wiggle it. There. And you can make this as smooth as silk. So smooth. But there's not a lot of movement. It's just, you're sort of just going around in little tight circles. There we go. And then begin thinking about how you want your water to flow. There. Knock off that excess paint. That's an easy way of just about getting your brush clean without going through that whole procedure. There. Okay. Let me find a fan brush here. Got several of them going. Maybe in our world, we want to have this water crashing over. So grab it and pull. Think about the angle though. Angles are very important. Very important. Think about that water. Make those little noises. That really helps. There. Just think about it crashing over. And that's all that we need at this point. Now if you want to bring some of that dark back with a clean brush, you can just grab it and lift it upward. And that'll very gently blend it all together. See there? And you can work back and forth till you get it exactly the way that you want it. Okay, let me go back and get my little number 3 fan brush. I like this little fan brush. It's good for making little foamy things and stuff like that. Go take a little white, and then I'm going into that nice lavender color we used in the sky. So to make sort of a medium value lavender. Okay, let's go back up in here. Now then, let's start thinking about having some nice foam out here. And I'm just using the corner of the fan brush. And once again, you could do this with a filbert just as well. The little number 6 filbert brush would work just as well. I just happen to have this, so we'll use it. And all we're doing here is putting in some shadows, some nice dark areas for the foam. But think about the water churning and bubbling and splashing and carrying on, crashing. Maybe it comes right over here. I don't know. Wherever you want it. Okay, let me wash that old brush. I like to do seascapes. They're a lot of fun, and they'll force you to study water and how it moves and churns and etc. Go to the ocean or get a video or photographs of water and just study. If you don't live near the ocean, then look in books and videos and stuff like that and you can see all of this. Now I've got just titanium white and I'm going right up here on the top of this darker color. And we're just gonna take the fan brush here and scrub in a little highlight. Wipe the brush off when you load it so you have nice, clean color. There. Just wiping it on a paper towel in between. Think about that water hitting and splashing and churning. And, make up little stories and sounds in your mind and just let it happen. Let it happen. There. Okay. Now then, back to our large brush. And I use the large brush only because it seems to have a little more hair in it and it blends better. You could do this with a 1-inch brush if you would like. I'm sort of hung up on this old big brush, but try them both and see which one works the best for you. And that's the one you ought to use. Okay, maybe over here, a little bit right in here too. Just that nice churning. Maybe there's even a little splashing down like that. Whatever. Whatever. There. And that old water is coming down through here. And we'll just begin. I'm going to add the least little touch of phthalo blue into that color. I want a little bluish. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. I like that. Begin thinking about how your water is coming up, right up in this transparency or the eye. It's just phthalo blue and white once again. There. Maybe it comes down here and think about shape though. And maybe there's a nice, maybe there's something right here. But let that water come up and fall over. We're creating a trough or a valley in here. Okay, here it comes. There. Just wherever. A little bit more of the phthalo blue and white. There. But just let that splash and curl. Big things coming down through here. This is what gives shape and form to your wave. I tell you, maybe even in here, let's just use the corner of the brush. Maybe the water is splashing, crashing right along in here. There may be another little splasher in there. Who knows? This is your world, so you can do anything that you want to do. Anything that you want to do. Then we take a large brush and just sort of blend that together. Now we're beginning to get into a little bit of that sap green and Van Dyke brown and stuff that's down here. Okay. All right, let me get the liner brush out. I like that old liner brush. And we'll take that. I'm going to go into a little bit of that same lavender color that had a little white in it. Same color we have up here. And let's just sort of highlight this edge here with a little color. Make it nice and firm. And then begin putting in some little shapes. Just some little doers in there that create all the little shapes and stuff that you want in here. Paint thinner with a little color. That's all I have here. Using a little of that blue and white in here. And this is where you can begin putting in all kinds of little details. And at home, you have unlimited time. You can really sit and make beautiful little things in here. Put all those little details. Okay, there. And while I've got that going, maybe back in here you can see all these little doers. Little titanium white with paint thinner on it to highlight some of the brighter ones where you think light would hit. And as I say, this is what gives it, these little details is what really will make your seascape spectacular. Now then, Okay. Reach down in here, get a little touch more of that paint thinner. Just let some of these little things wiggle and jiggle and your hand shake. I've had people write and tell me they had a little nervous twitch in their hand. They had a hard time painting. Sometimes that's a very valuable asset. Use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. There. Okay, tell you what, let's have some fun. Now, this big ledge up here, I've already covered that with a little bit of brown, as I mentioned earlier. So let's take a little, we'll grab a little dark sienna, grab a little white, alizarin crimson. Just sort of mix those loosely. I'm just going to mix them on the brush, maybe even a little touch of the yellow ochre, not much, just a little. Okay, just on the fan brush. Let's go up here. And then let's begin thinking about shapes here. And all you have to do is just tap. Just take the fan brush and tap. It's really all it amounts to. And you can begin forming your rocks just by tapping. Just tap. And here and there you can add a little light color wherever you think a light would strike and bounce and play. There. And leave some dark areas in here. Those dark areas will end up being big holes in the rocks. A little place for the seagulls to go in. And they gotta have a place to build a nest. And in Alaska we have little puffins. They're one of the cutest little birds God's ever made. Looks like their beak's too big for their head. Beautiful little birds. There. But just form these, just like so. And you could do this with a knife. I just want to show you several different ways of doing it. But the knife will work very well for making very nice rock effects. There. Try to stand out of the way so you can see there. Maybe this comes right on down into here somewhere. Like so. Let's see, I got several fan brushes going. Let me get another one here. I want a rock on the other side too. Right there. I bet you knew I was going to put a rock here, didn't you? I always like big rocks and big trees in my paintings. Just sort of decide how you think that old rock should live in there and drop it in. Okay, and we can take some of that color, come right along in here. And once again, this is a nice way of outlining and forming your stones and rocks. There. I want this one to remain quite dark, so it doesn't distract too much. There we go. Now you can take a clean, dry 2-inch brush and very gently, just caress it. Just caress it. And it'll blend all that together and make it nice and smooth. And it looks like beautiful stones then. But very, very gently. One hair and some air. One hair and some air. There. A little bit of our phthalo blue and white. And we'll have a little splash coming around down through here. Shoot, maybe there's even a little water dripping down. You could do this with a liner brush or the fan brush. Just whatever. And maybe there's even a right there. Look at there. Just let that come right on back. Like so. See, and just bring it all together. And then a little bit in the foreground. These seascapes are not near as hard as they look. You really can do these. Maybe let's get crazy. We have a second left here, so we'll put a little stone right here too. I just like to have stones all out in the water. Think it really, I like it. It just enhances my paintings. A little bit of the nice highlight color. And let's see here. We could take a liner brush, a little of that phthalo blue and white, and paint thinner. Thin it down, and you can literally have water dripping right off these rocks, just like so. See? And let some of this just Put all these little things in. It's a super way, though, of making very effective little seascapes like this. There. Okay. A little bit right in there. And you just make decisions where you think the water would be churning and splashing maybe all around this rock. Just using the corner of the fan brush, though. It's all we're using. All back in here, there would be, we'll have some churning back against that big rock. Little misty areas. Like so. And you can just keep on and on and on. But there comes a time when we have to stop. I tell you what, we'll just take a little touch of dark color. Maybe we'll put one little lonely bird up here. Little M bird. And I think with that, we'll call this old painting finished. Hope this gives you an idea of doing a fantastic seascape at home. If you give it a try, you will love it. And I'd love to see some photographs of what you're doing. If you have time, drop us a line. Let us know if you like the show. Send us some pictures of what you're doing, okay? From all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, and God bless, my friend.